Hey, welcome back. In this video, I'll show you how to manage your components and component library. Now, there are a number of changes I made since you made the last part. I created a custom version of those parts or a new version of those and saved them so you can get those and this entire project as it is with the fixed up parts in the link below. All right, so make sure you use that link in the description below. In this video, I'll show you the process I use to manage my components. If you want to try out Altium Designer Free Trial, just use the link in the description below. So first of all, once you placed your parts on a schematic, right? Regardless of if you get your parts from multiple sources, you can go to your design, click on your schematic, and then choose your design menu tab there, and then choose Make Integrated Library. What Altium will do is create an integrated library, and then it will create this folder called libraries. Then it'll make something called like an int lib or something like that. Once you have your .int lib library, you can right click and expand it or extract it. It's one of those things. And then you'll get these two. You'll have your schematic library and your PCB library. Now I named mine lipo battery _A to indicate the version of the library. I don't normally do that, but anyway, once you have your library, you can double click on it and then open your schematic library panel, right? So you go to panels and then choose schematic library. Then it shows up usually on the left or maybe floating. Now, what's the process I use for managing my components? It's actually more detailed than what I'm going to show you, but here are some key fundamentals. First of all, I have my list of parts. Your names are going to be different if you're still using your parts. You want to double click on the part of interest, right? And make sure the properties panel shows up. If it doesn't for some reason when you double click, you can just click on here and then choose your properties panel, which is right here. Great. Now, I like to move my components to the center. That's step one. That's my preference though. You can move pin 1 to the origin. It's up to you. This will affect the grab point when you place your components. The second thing, for the design item ID, I like to use the description from DigiKey. So if we go down here, or if we look at the manufacturing part number for some capacitor or something, other people use different nomenclatures. People don't use spaces, they use dashes. The possibilities are infinite. They use manufacturer part number. It's totally up to you. Next, the reference designator. Make sure that's right. Then the comment, I usually put the value for that device in the comment section. I make these two visible for capacitors, things like capacitors and resistors where you kind of want to know more information about the part. Next, where it says description, I use a detailed description from DigiKey. So let me just show you. For this part, right, if I click on here, and I'll get to the supplier part link in a bit. Notice when you click on the link, Altium takes you through Octopart, which takes you to DigiKey, which is fantastic. That's a great move to purchase Octopart because it just makes things so much easier. I like that Altium does that. It's much more clean than other PCB design software. It really is. So now we have the part. When I look at my part, I use the description from DigiKey to put into my design item ID. You can use whatever you want. It's up to you. For the detailed, for description from Altium, I use the detailed description from DigiKey. That gives me a good deal more information. Okay. Leave the type as standard. Now here's the other thing. Regardless of which part you have, I like to put in the manufacturer and the manufacturer part number. Other people have different things. In fact, I have a number of different things I use for manufacturer and manufacturer part number. You can sort by name for these properties. So click on here and it'll sort by name. But make sure you have the manufacturer part number. Right, so I like to go to my part choices. This may be empty. What you do, and this is really cool about Altium, it's just so easy to use. It's not this easy in other CAD software, let me tell you. Okay, and then you'll have nothing here, then you would choose add. Then what Altium will do is automatically search for whatever's in the comment section. So if you have the manufacturer part number in the comment section before you do this, it'll automatically search for that part. Then you can filter by DigiKey part number directly, which is amazing. Then you select it. Now here's the key thing. You click on this little down arrow here to choose which type of DigiKey part you want, or Mauser part. You choose your supplier this way. The top supplier with the best option, quantity, minimum quantity 1 at 37 cents. Here's this one with minimum quantity 3,000 at 8 cents. Oh, that's not that's not bad at all. All right, click on here. This looks like this might be the cut tape version. Anyway, once you've selected this, right? Let's say you want the 3,000 stock one, or you want from Mauser, but these are in red, indicating that they're not available. But anyway, let's go with the 3,000 stock and click OK. Now we have two suppliers technically. Supplier 1 is the one where you can order a minimum quantity 37 cents, and the other one is the 3,000 that you minimum that you can order at 8 cents, and then you click OK. And you can add as many suppliers as you want to this parts. So under part choices, we have that. We have the supplier part numbers, and these are the fields that automatically get added. Supplier 1, supplier 2, supplier part number 1, supplier part number 2. And here's another key thing. Make these not visible, these part numbers. It'll make your schematic look a lot cleaner. All right. What else can we do here? We can look at the data sheet. It's just so convenient. It's so good. And then you can edit the supplier links. You can also add manual links. So if you click on this icon, you can add manual links, edit your own custom parameters. That's how I do that. So if you want the manufacturer part number, you can click on add parameter, and then it shows up. Let's say you want, maybe your company calls it MPN instead. You can say, you know, ASDF or whatever. And you don't even need to add that. You can just double click on a part. So where is it? Manufacturer, and then change the name. Change it to whatever you like. Now, how do you delete information? You can just click on the row. Don't be bothered that you're just highlighting text. Once the row is selected at all, you can click on this delete icon and you have to click yes. That looks good. Okay, so this is all the information I add to my parts, or my schematic parts anyway. There's one more very important thing, which is the footprint. Yes, you click on the bottom here, and then we choose our footprint. Now you can add whatever footprint you like to this component. You can do a add footprint, and then browse for your footprint model name. Notice that since I created my integrated library, I generated it. It also created the PCB library. So you might by default have the PCB lib selected, and in that will have the footprints you need for your design that you have on your schematic. Very cool. It's just seamless, really. You add that footprint, and there you go. Let's see if there are any with a preview. Yeah, there's this one. This has the preview. Just like the 3D thing that you'll be doing in the PCB, you can go over here, hold down the shift key, use the right mouse button at the same time to look at the 3D model. Okay, and then you can look at the 2D model by clicking there. This is how I manage my parts. Once you made all your changes, you click save, and then you go to the next part and you do it again. Okay, this is how the library management, that's how I do it. Let's say you may have pins that don't have their designators visible. Well, you can make it visible. Okay, and then you save that. You just go one by one for each component, each device, and fill in the information on the right, fix your parts on the left. Okay, once the schematic library is done being managed, and if you don't want to do all that yourself, that's perfectly fine. If you want to continue with this project, you could just download my parts library and schematic as it is below. No guarantees on its perfection, but it's a pretty decent. I spent some time on it. Then the challenge is, once you've placed those parts, or once you've managed that library nicely and you have all the information in them and in the components, you can place those new parts back into your schematic, replacing the old components, and now you have a full schematic with a full set of parts on there. Okay, so try and go ahead and do that. You know how to wire components together. You know how to place parts or components from your library. If you don't know how to do that, you can just go to Panels, Components, right? And then this shows up, and then you can just go ahead, search for the components you want, double click on the part, and then place it. You rotate, place it, right? And if you want to wire devices, if you forgot, just do place wire and then wire them up. That's it. Okay. So that's your challenge. If you want, you can go and do that on your own. If you don't want to, feel free to download this, or you can do both. You can download this, use it as a guide for yourself, and do your own schematic from the new properly managed or nicely detailed components. So this has been how you can manage your parts library. The system I use, it's not perfect by any means. I do more than this when I'm designing, doing work for clients, or doing my own personal projects sometimes. It's more involved than this, but this is enough to get you going. Okay. All right, I'll see you in the next one. You can upload your own designs from Altium or Eagle using Altium Online Viewer for free. Check it out in the link below.